John Clayton from the Washington Post, who joins us right now here on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN as Week 3 is in the books, John. And obviously last night on Monday Night Football didn't go so well for Nick Sirianni and the Philadelphia Eagles. I think it looks like this year we have a clear favorite in the NFC East.
Yeah, no doubt. It looks like it's going to be the Dallas Cowboys because, I mean, you look around the division and you see, not a lot of positive things except for Dallas because Dallas has the offense. They see with Dan Quinn to be a little bit better on defense. You look at Washington, and Washington right now, they have the second worst offense in football as far as yards. The defense in football in yards allowed. Giants are terrible with Daniel Jones. And, of course, the Eagles are kind of where I thought they would be. I thought they were going to struggle. And now you got Isaac Semiano, who's it looks like he's going to be out for the rest of the year with a Liz Frank injury. Brandon Brooks is out. The left tackle's hurt. And so a lot of different things seem to be working against the division, but not the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, and you wrote about it over at the Washington Post that the injuries are already taking a toll on not just the Eagles, but a lot of teams this season. It seems that if you are following injuries in the NFL, you will always have a job, and they might need to hire more.
Yeah, no doubt about it, because, again, and it's funny because some of the same teams, now like last year, Philadelphia was among the top 3 teams as far as missed starts with injuries. But you look at San Francisco, and they're kind of heading back to where they were last year with the injury bug. I mean, they're down 4 running backs. Now I don't think Kawan Williams is going to be able to play for several weeks. They lost Jason Verrett at cornerback. They've already lost 2 receivers. That's not going well. Then you look at, certainly a couple other teams that look bad too. I mean, you look at the, one team that's just really devastated is the Denver Broncos. I mean, the Denver Broncos were in the top 10 for missed starts last year, but now they're down 5 starters in 3 weeks, and particularly 3 on defense. And so, like, for example, they take on a banged-up Baltimore team, which is in the mix for injuries because Baltimore is down, 3 running backs, 2 offensive linemen. The first-round pick may be able to play this week. They got injuries on defense and COVID-19. So when you put all that together, I mean, it really devastates and pulls a team down, and eventually some of these injuries catch up to you.
Storylines John Clayton sees after 3 weeks. Let's look at the rookie quarterbacks. You say they're having a tough time. That's being kind, I think, John. You're seeing the number 2 pick in Zach Wilson really struggling. Fields, everybody wanted him. Well, maybe the Bears are saying he wasn't ready. So it's just not those 2. What have you seen from this class?
Not good. I mean, because, again, I know that if you're going to be getting a quarterback this year, I mean, you're going to be on a bad team. I mean, the only quarterback that looks somewhat decent is Mac Jones, because at least he's completing a decent percent of his passes, but he's sitting there 1 and 2. But you look at all these rookie quarterbacks, and they've only got 1 total win, and they've got so many interceptions. I mean, Trevor Lawrence has 7 interceptions. You can see that there's so many other problems. I mean, you got Zach Wilson with 7 interceptions. I mean, it looks bad. And so when you put all that together, I mean, when you draft a rookie quarterback and you're on a bad team, you expect things to be bad, but not this bad.
Yeah, as you wrote at the Washington Post, John, the first-round picks are 1 and 9. Davis Mills, a third-rounder, he is 0 and 1, so a 1 and 10 record with a rookie quarterback. And you've been covering this league for long enough to realize that the quarterbacks never played when they got drafted. They sat for a while, and you wonder if these teams are rushing these guys out there.
Well, there's no question about it. They definitely are, because what you end up seeing, and you've watched it now around the league in the last couple of years, it's like, okay, so you take Sam Darnold and you play him. Okay, you take all these quarterbacks and you play them, and then you get to the 3rd year, and all of a sudden you start to realize, well, geez, these guys aren't doing well, and you get rid of them. I mean, they did that with Darnold. I mean, you can see that it'll be Daniel Jones that'll be moving on next year. I mean, you can see that they're going to be making changes with the New York Giants. I mean, Daniel Jones looking terrible. So when you put all that together, it's like the young quarterbacks. They go and you start them the first year, and by the 3rd year, it's not looking good. Drew Lock is not going to be probably back with the Denver Broncos next year. He's already been replaced by Ted Bridgewater. And then you saw the horrible performance by Justin Fields, which was the most predictable one of all. He gets his first start. He goes out there and just looks terrible. 9 sacks. He's playing behind a bad offensive line. He's holding on to the ball too long. But that's predictable because that's Justin Fields. And so it's like and the game plan that they had for Chicago with Matt Nagy was just horrible.
John Clayton, Washington Post, storylines after 3 weeks that he is tracking. The offenses are ahead of the defenses. They're not letting anybody play defense, John. The officials are really, oh, my gosh, last night it's so hard to watch some of these games.
Oh, no doubt about it, because with the taunting penalty, and again, the taunting penalty being 15 yards is ridiculous. And so now all of a sudden, I mean, you're giving a big gain to the offense, and that hurts. And then you look around and you see the pass interference rules. I mean, you see the the late hits on the quarterback, and of course you can see with the running quarterbacks, they tend to have an advantage against these defenses. And so defenses right now are real slow in picking it up. As I noted in the article, it's like 8 of the top 10 defenses from last year are no longer in the top 10 after 3 weeks.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that are different from last year, as you note in the article as well. John Clayton is with us. That teams that are kind of off the radar that were not playoff teams last year, all of a sudden we're starting to talk about a lot of these teams. You got the Raiders, you got the Broncos, both undefeated. I mean, the Bengals right now, they're 2-1 leading the division. Carolina's 3-0. So a lot of interesting storylines after 3 weeks of teams that we maybe didn't have high expectations for.
No, I mean, it's possible that the Carolina Panthers could be one of the surprise teams. I mean, you're looking at what they're doing on defense with their blitzing package. Phil Snow has them number 1 in the league. Darnold's done a decent job, probably as good as any of the 14 quarterbacks who moved to different teams. I mean, he's looking positive. And no doubt that when you have Derek Carr throwing for 405 yards a game and Max Crosby looking like one of the better players in the league on an improved Raider defense, they look good. Now we'll see about the Broncos, because the Broncos had 3 easy starts, because they end up going up and they play a bad Giant team, and they played the 2 worst teams in football, the Jets and the Jaguars, and they're 3-0. But now they have to go play Baltimore, and they're going to be down, 5 starters at least.
Yeah, I know. And then a couple of teams that had playoff aspirations that if we had this conversation 5 weeks ago, John, we would have said, yeah, Pittsburgh, Seattle. I think Seattle, a lot of people thought was the favorite in that West. Right now, they're really struggling, and they're struggling on offense a little bit.
Yeah, they are. I mean, because they can't get consistency with the running game. They had communication problems in Minnesota with the offensive line, inconsistency in the second half with Russell Wilson. But defensively, they're at 440.3 yards a game.
I know you're out there in Seattle, and I'm wondering, I was listening on my way into work today, and I heard them talking about some of the Seattle fans are a little panicky about what they're seeing from Russell Wilson. Is there any concern with Wilson kind of, taking a step back?
No, it's the continued story about, because Russell complained at the end of last year, and everybody kind of keeps bringing that up, but it's such an overdone story. I mean, Russell he's completing over 70% of his passes. He's throwing for over 300 yards a game. I mean, he's getting enough points. It's just that it's just not all clicking together. And again, you're asked to do so much when the defense is giving up so much.
Hey, let's go back to what happened last night, John, and look at Dallas, because they went toe-to-toe with Tampa. They get the win on the road against the Chargers, and they dismantle Philadelphia last night. Watching that Cowboys team, is this the year we can finally, it's been 30 years, finally take them seriously?
No, I think you have to take them seriously. I don't know if you want to make them a Super Bowl contender this early because, again, it's been 30 years, but I think that you have to take them seriously. Dak Prescott is playing at an MVP level. I mean, they've got good receivers that are still healthy. They're doing well. They've got one of the better offensive lines in the league, and they've improved on defense.
All right, John Clayton from the Washington Post. Week 4 starts Thursday night. Not a great game, by the way. Jacksonville, Cincinnati.
Oh God.
Real quick, by the way, before I let you run, John, do you like the Monday night wild card game?
The Monday night wild card game. I like it, yeah. Now, it's going to be tough on that team that plays Monday night because they've got a short week.
Right.
But, no, I like the idea because, again, it just adds more football.
Sure. Now, when John Clayton watches football Monday night, did you watch the Manning cast or are you watching the game?
I'm watching the game.
All right.
I need to see what happens in the game.
Yeah, I was conflicted last night because when the Eagles are playing, I feel like I had to watch the game, and the other team's playing when I'm not as intently watching. Now you're doing it at a national level as opposed to me, but man, it is entertaining. At halftime last night, when that game was over, in my mind, I flipped over and watched a little bit of the Manningcast. All right, John Clayton, everybody make sure you check out his Washington Post column. I read it every week. It is very insightful, and NFL Week 3 is now in the books. John, thanks so much.
Thank you.